Welcome. My name is Len Lane, and I am the founder and president of Brokers for Life, Inc., and we are Dominion Lending Centers in Western Canada. The topic of our podcast will be about what we consider to be real-life mortgage solutions. Welcome back. Episode 45. Who thought we would get this far? Do you know the average podcaster only does 3? So I guess I'm above average today. So
You're above average every day.
My guest today is Jennifer Dechaine, long time in the home building industry and now actually a home builder yourself, which is an exciting stage, I'm sure, for you doing Infill. And so tell me about how this all came about to start Urban Brix.
So yes, thank you so much, Len, for having me. Urban Brix actually was just a brainchild where I worked on a redevelopment or rezoning project in 2007, 2008, before I actually went back into the home building industry. And in the rezoning, they were trying to do like some seniors housing or something like that. And I actually wrote a 30-page research paper for the town of Stony Plain. And in it, we examined aging in place, carbon footprints, sizes of residences, walkability, quality of life, connectedness, etc. And I became aware at that time how important it was for people to be living in a community that's dense, where they can walk to places and they can be connected with places. And that's kind of where my curiosity with Infill started. And then about 5 years ago, I bought a property that I was just keeping to tear it down. And then the time just came where it was just, I was at this perfect inflection spot in my career. I was the vice president of sales at an integrated developer here in Edmonton. I got all the way up into the executive team and I'm like, okay, I've climbed the corporate ladder. Is this it? And I know you've been there too, working in leadership at home building. And you kind of have that spot where you're like, is this what I'm meant to do? And ultimately, it was very painful to leave my sales team. I have such a love for sales professionals, but you'll see that further on in the conversation because that hasn't left me. But I was like, I want to build our city. I want to help with redensifying the core. I want to build some multifamily properties. And I truly believe that hard assets are generational wealth. And these multifamily projects that I'm building, these are for my grandchildren. They don't exist yet. You said you have 9. So clearly we need to do some joint ventures and get the kids all their $3 million multifamily projects so that when they're 50, they're like, thanks, Grandpa. But that's my plan. And that's Urban Brix started with that. And I do business now. I just do business with my existing channels. It's all very much a relationship. And we've got some really exciting things on the go. We've got some pretty multiplexes, pretty standard multiplexes, but we're doing some really cool work into some intergenerational co-living, which would be like living that reflects, right? You guys love the Sweden, Denmark, Norway, right? Co-living is so hot in Europe, and it really does help with the issues that we have here in North America of loneliness, of disconnectivity, with everybody being so mobile and spread out. Your family's not around, and you need those human connections. Loneliness kills you faster than your health issues. So we're really looking into that. And it is just my passion to be able to contribute, not just shelter as a build them, sell them sort of idea, but really shelter with social impact. It just makes me like, I jump out of bed in the morning for this stuff.
I see that. That's cool. Yeah. But yeah, and it's funny that multi-generational home in Canada is rare. Actually, I think I did about 3 in the last 2 years where it was exactly that, where Canadian families actually, but of European recent ancestry, right, where they were buying a $1.2, $1.3 million place with a bit of land, and both generations were going to actually live in the house, which was kind of cool. But it's not the norm for Canadians. We can't wait to leave home. Your boys are gone, right? So it's like out the door and not worry about mom and dad or grandma and grandpa as much as we did in the past, right? So
yeah, but then like the rest of the world lives like that. right? Like everybody but us. And I have to tell you, yes, my boys are gone, but my boys are like, hey, it's tough out here. We can't save up for a down payment. We're struggling. When are we going to be able to start our lives? And they're in their mid-20s and they're like, we feel like we're behind. We feel like we're not getting ahead. And what's a solution? And a huge issue is the cost of shelter. And then I look at my family, I look at my mother who is single, and in many ways, being single as the senior is actually a sentence to poverty. There's still some boomers that have paid off houses and pensions, but that's not going to be for much longer. And the next generations won't have that. And so really being able to age, shouldn't your economic security and your economic steadfastness and your shelter steadfastness should not be dependent on your romantic relationship.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, that 35 years on the same job with a pension, it's less and less every month.
Right. And even 35 years in the same relationship. That's not even a thing anymore, right?
Well, I've been married 40 years. It's just been 3 different women, that's all.
And you cannot trade in your last wife. She is all best.
She is. So yeah, it's always interesting to see that dynamics, how much it has changed just since we started buying homes. I bought my first home at 23. I'm on number 16 or 17 now. I lost track. But to talk about your sons in their 20s, young professionals, I have a feeling perhaps. But it's really, if you can't buy a house in Edmonton, which is the most economical place in Canada, probably, for a major city, right? That's a bad sign, right? So
it's a really bad sign. And so they need assistance, they need just kind of that leg up, because then when I left home, when you left home, we're like, hey, we're going to go make it in the world. And I bought my first house at 21 with a down payment assistance. And I look at it now and I think, that's becoming the norm, right? That the down payments are coming from somewhere because it's just not possible. It just doesn't feel possible for some people. Some people, they're doing really great. They're saving, they're doing those things. But I think more and more people are having that feeling of being priced out of the market, or feeling like they're behind, or feeling like they're not getting ahead. And that's really something that my sons are really articulate to me. And I feel a lot of compassion and empathy. And as their mom, you can't be that helicopter parent, and you don't want to raise mama's boys, but you also, struggling is good. This takes me to a whole other thing that I'm completely fascinated about is, I don't know how you did with your kids, Lynn, but when I raised my kids, you always want your kids to do better than you, right? And you always want your kids to have it better than you. And we're starting to get to those generations where I think maybe sometimes, as a helicopter mom who kept my children in a bubble, I didn't let them struggle. I fixed all the problems. And now there's issues with resilience. And it's not just one family or anything like that. We're looking generationally. That Gen Z is so gifted digitally. They are so intelligent. They have got it all figured out. But there are some really interesting pieces of their upbringing, generationally speaking, that have caused a little bit of friction. Every generation has their thing, right? And Gen Z is digitally, they have got it together, but they've got some other things that we can definitely provide some assistance with. Same with, oh goodness, I have a friend of mine who works disconnecting children from technology and teaching them how to play and imagine again. And I'm actually, believe this or not, I'm developing a course with her for real estate professionals that have urgency addictions and can't enjoy their life because they're constantly on their phones. What do you think about that, Len?
I think that's a reality. All through most of the early parts of the career, probably, right? Building a mortgage business and things like that was definitely an issue. But mine gets shut off now at the end of the day, and there's no mortgage emergencies. I can't wait till 8:00 tomorrow morning, right? So it's hard to do, but it's not so hard during NFL season, but the rest of the time it's a little harder, right? But yeah, that doesn't surprise me, because I get texts from people that it's 10:00 at night. I'm just on my way to bed, and I'm going Yeah, you're waiting till the morning, so put that down, right?
Well, because I think it's helped to redefine like what is urgent, right? Like what's urgent? Is it urgent? Like there's nothing that you're going to do at 10 o'clock with all the lending institutions closed. All you're going to do, like that person needs to be able to regulate and deal with their stuff, and you'll get back to them because it's just there's no point in business martyrdom anymore where everybody's just running around working and hustling. Like hustle culture is kind of out of control. And to be fair, I used to be a huge propagator of it, but it's very nuanced, especially in real estate, because there are emergencies or deal emergencies. There's busting pipes and there's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens. And so it's just not as simple as turning off your phone. You've worked your whole career to get yourself to the place where you're the boss, and you have been for a number of years, right? For those underlings who don't have that privilege of being the boss, like this course is actually for them, where it's like, you know what, it's not as simple as just saying, oh, turn it off, right, and deal with it later. It's not. It's more nuanced than that, because you actually have to deal with your anxiety about the implications of you leaving it, right? Like you can turn it off and be like, tough shit. Oops, can we swear on the podcast? But there's a lot of people that can't deal with it, with that anxiety of being like, oh my God, and now I didn't sleep and all this other stuff. So anyways, it's super fun. And I only can teach about it because I suffer from it. I mean, I got an urgency addiction, and I would bet that 97.325% of real estate professionals do.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that. So is that part of Congruent Projects? Is that part of what you're doing there? Or?
Oh, so yes, this is my other company, Congruent Projects. And Congruent Projects is all about my love of sales. Len, I know that you are like a lover of sales as well. Like that's what we do. And once sales like kind of like, I don't know, it just kind of picks you up and takes you in, and it just never lets you go, right? The adrenaline of the sales, the psychology of the sale, the art and the science of a sale. Like, I just love it so much. And so when I left my sales team, I had sales teams in Calgary, BC, and Edmonton, and I missed them so much. And I just knew that I had to do something to honor the time that I had spent leading sales teams. And so Congruent Projects basically was that. And so through Congruent Projects, I have basically two channels of business in there. I have builder realtor collaboration, and we'll get to that later. And then I actually have sales professional foundational coaching and training. And inside there, I am working on, I'm so passionate about, it's called Human Foundations. And it is 18 human foundational pieces specifically niched into real estate to help new sales professionals just win in life with integrity. And it's really fascinating. And it goes into things, and these are all things that everybody is like, you just know how to do that, right? Like one of the courses is how to take rejection. And we just think, you know what, we know how to take rejection. Whatever, everybody knows how to take rejection. Actually not. Like it's actually a skill, a strength, and you can build it. You can train it to get really good at it, because in sales, you're going to get rejected all the time. Like in new home sales, your closing ratio is like maybe 4 to 7%, which means you need 93 people to say, go to hell. No, to be able to get 7 deals, which is good enough for like 3-4 months of work if you're working for a smaller customized builder, right? And so, but you need to get through those no's, and being able to take it and be like, hey, this is getting me closer to my yes. This isn't a reflection of my personal worth. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It means I'm just not the right fit. So one of those modules of like taking rejection, that's really fun. There's a stuff on, it's like everything that every leader wants their people to have. If people were a computer, this is the software that we would load: growth mindset, strategic positivity, resilience, integrity. And it's like, where do these things come from? Why are they important? And how can we compete against ourselves to grow these skills? They're all inside of us, but how we develop and grow them is directly correlated with our longevity and our success in the industry, right? People are like, oh, you're not cut out for real estate. A lot of times new professionals, they bring all the raw materials. They bring tenacity, they bring desire, they bring ambition, and then they just get kicked in the teeth a number of times. And they're like, hey, like, what am I missing here? Do I suck? And the answer is no, you got all the right materials. And now we're just going to load you up with all of the stuff that's just going to make you so resilient and tough for longevity in the industry, so that you're just like, hey, cool, I'm not your solution. Let's move on. So yes, I'm super passionate about that. And it's actually being developed with my niece. So I'm like this, like I'm off in this crazy creative space, and my niece is a teacher. And so she's on strike right now. It was her very first year teaching. She taught for 1 month in September. She's a music teacher, and now she's on strike. And she's so broken. I called her and I was like, how is my favorite striking public servant? And she's like, Auntie, this is terrible. And I was like, Auntie's got a job for you. So she's my Gen Z collaborator, and we are building all of this out. Yeah. She's currently working on our module on confidence and self-validation, and the difference between arrogance and confidence, and how sales professionals need to know the difference. What do you think?
Well, and you hit on a couple of points there too, that when I'm teaching new trainees, it's like, this is making popcorn. You got to put enough kernels in the pot to get some deals, to get some things moving. If you talk to nobody, then, there's nothing going to happen, right? You can advertise all day long, but pick up the phone, do something, let everybody in the universe that you're doing mortgages, right? So, but our closing rate, I guess, if you want to call it that way, is out of every 10 applications, about 42% of them actually turn into actual good applications and possible deals. Yeah, it's the industry's pretty high that way, because yes, I know selling new homes, selling real estate, I think in general, you're probably, like you said, 7% is probably a high number for a lot of new people, especially, right? But, I always tell them, they're just no's, don't worry about it. Look down. If you're not bleeding, you're going fine. Go find another one. And, and kind of old school teaching from Ray, of course, was you're only as good as your next deal. So let's go find the next one, right?
Absolutely. And like that is a lesson on resilience, which is you get rejected, you just move on as quick as you can, right? Exactly. Don't take it personally.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I told that to one young gentleman one day. He'd just come in with 5 deals. And that's how Ray did it to me. Ray Mitchell's who I'm talking about. It was like, bring him in 4 deals on a Monday. He'd sign them all off, and that's good. Well, you're only as good as your next one. Go find it, right? So, but in the same way, in any sales spot, it's going to be the same. If you're selling, I literally sold everything from welding rod to houses. So it's like, it was the same. If you didn't get a sale at this shop, you're on to the next shop, do another demo and do whatever, right? It's like, it's the same all the way through in any sales position, right? So that's cool. Yes, my daughter-in-law is a teacher as well. She's out on the picket line today, so she's like 6 or 7 years into it, so she's not in as bad a shape. Actually, she teaches teachers. Teaches them how to do their teaching processes, right?
Hey, look,
same idea.
You know what?
Yeah.
When Ray Mitchell hired me, I was a teacher, and he said to me, I love teachers. They always do their homework. They're always prepared. Yeah. And he said, you stand up in front of a classroom. I was teaching grade 9 and 10 at the time. Yeah. And he's like, you stand up there in front of 14-year-olds and you sell that lesson, and you sell it that it's interesting and you have their attention. He's like, you can sell new homes. And that's what he said to me. And he was right.
Actually, what my daughter-in-law does, that was her grade level as well before she moved into this other position. And she teaches math and science, so even harder, right? Where they all expect the guy at the front of the room, right? So, yeah, cool. So that's moving along really well, sounds like. And so tell us about the other part of that. And I kind of chuckled when I saw you were doing it, is introducing realtors to home builders and trying to get them to play nice together. How's that working out?
Well, how the endeavor kind of came up together was a bit of a, say, accident, but I mean, is anything an accident? Is anything coincidence?
You hired a bus. Can't be coincidence at that point.
I was sitting with a Royal LePage broker, and I was talking to him about, he has these very ambitious training plans for his new salespeople. As in real estate, the attrition rate is terrible. It's like something like 80%. And unless you as a broker intentionally provide that support and education, you will likely follow that same path. And well, what's really cool is I talked to a lot of brokers when I was organizing this initiative, and there's a lot of brokers really upping the game with regards to education and support to work on those attrition rates. But I was sitting in his office and I was like, oh, I'll take your kids out to the show homes. And then I was like, actually, I could probably take everybody out to the show homes and teach them the few odds and ends. And then from there, I am the queen of wild ideas. And so I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. And I call up an event planner and she's like, yeah, okay, well, let's make it happen. So I'm like, I'm going to do it. So I did. And it was challenging. I mean, so there was a couple of things. So I took realtors out on bus tours to builders and developers, et cetera. And the intention was to create this collaborative environment. This is kind of like a fractious relationship. And when I called, one of the brokers said to me, look, builders are like our crazy ex. Do they love us or hate us today? We don't know. And I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, okay, fair. I got it. Because you've had a mixed response. And so there was a couple things I had to do. So I had to galvanize the realtors and be like, I want you to come, and I needed for them to pay attention and hear me. And so I called up to all the top brokers. I called the Remaxes. I called the training center at Maxwell. I called my friends that I've done business with, the Move team. I called David St. Jean, the big real estate team. I called out George at Mosaic. I called, goodness gracious, I called everybody. And then I even called smaller brokerages as well, those boutique firms. And I said, can I ask you if this is a good idea? Would you send me agents to train them? Like, I want to tell them, because I have worked on the backside, then I've worked on the behind the scenes at a builder, right? I've sat and negotiated deals for a builder for 10 years from the sales team. The sales team brings me the deals. If this was a car dealership, I would be that manager that you were going to see to get a deal, right? And so I know all the ins and outs. I know what do deals look like? How can you negotiate a deal where a builder doesn't want to negotiate with you? When is the best time to buy a new home in this market with regards to the cycle, et cetera? So anyways,
December, right?
Exactly. 3 weeks before Christmas, baby. Take her on the last day, sign your mortgage docs at the lawyer, and move in 2 days before Christmas. You got the best deal of the year, right? We know it. And so anyway, so I called up the brokers. They said, this is brilliant. We're in, and we will get you realtors to come to the tour. And I was like, amazing. So then I called up all the builders and developers and I said, hey, I want to do this, and I know that it's needed. We need to be more collaborative and not transactional, where we're just like, come today and sell our houses, now go away. And the builders and the developers were like 100%. The leadership shown, not everybody returned my call and not everybody participated, but there was a number of leaders in our industry that I talked to them and they're like, I'm in, tell me what I need to do. We need this. And it was like unexpected sources. One of the bigger developers in town called me. He got my email. I had called him. I left an email. I did all these things. He called me and said, Jennifer, how much money do you want? I'm here to sponsor. Like, let's make this happen. And he's like, we need this in the industry. We need somebody to show some leadership on this. I love it. And so that's what I did. So I got them to sponsor. We created this beautiful magazine. I don't know if I have it here, but this beautiful 40-page magazine of articles. And we aggregated all the builders, how they pay commission, how they transact, what their referral process is, their market position, their strengths, where they really shine, their differentiation. So we really aggregated everything together. So there's like 12 pages of builder profiles where a realtor could take that magazine and be like, I know how to register them. I know when I'm getting paid. I know how to interact with the sales staff. I feel fully confident that I could walk in here and do a deal tomorrow. And that was really the goal. And so I did this about 6 weeks, and in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, kind of in advance. I was planning it, got it off the ground. And then all the brokers were like, yeah, we'll send people. And then like 2 weeks before, there was only like 8 tickets sold. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, is anyone even going to come? I've got a bus for 50 people. And so I started calling and they're like, we're last minute. Don't worry about it. We'll do it all last minute. Right? And then, because meanwhile, the brokers were like, we need lots of notice. And then everyone's like, oh, don't worry, it's going to be last minute. So it was last minute. Last minute, we had 80 I think 83 people come, and most of the registration was within the last 5 days. So all of my sleepless nights being like, no one's going to show up. This is going to be a crushing failure. Of course, everyone shows up last minute, and it was amazing. And we had a professional photographer. They took tons of photos, tons of videos for everybody's social media. Yeah, it was amazing. So that's what happened. And I just sent out a bunch of surveys where I was like, how can we do this better? What was your favorite part? And what was fun is as we drove all around the communities, I had my little bus tour and I got my microphone and I'm giving these little mini lessons where I'm like, what's a lowball offer in the city and how do you write it? And why no from a builder is good news, right? I gave them all the history as we went to the builders. We had gone to Excel and I was like, these guys are from Calgary. And I gave them the history about Apex Land Development and Centrex and all of that history. And they loved it. They loved hearing about all the history. Even, Mac and Mitch is revived. Alex Webb, the fourth generation. Yes. 83 or 84 years. Alex did all the realtors in the park. And we played grounders and basketball in the new Alcis Park. And yeah, it was super fun. So it was a really good time. And now the brokers are calling me being like, when's the next one? So yeah.
In the spring, bring your boots.
Right?
Yeah.
But what was really interesting, Len, is, here's the thing. Did I help educate 80 realtors? Well, there's 6,700 of them in the region. There's like 15,000 in Alberta. Is 80 some really going to make a difference? Here's the thing. So going out and chatting with all the builders and chatting with all the realtors really exposed a lot of those gray areas. Like what happens after you give your client to the builder as a referral, right? How do you interact in the sale? Are you just supposed to get out? What if you don't want to get out? How do you support the sale? So it exposed a lot of those really interesting gray areas. And so I aggregated them all together, and I'm going to do a masterclass for builders with regards to opportunities to work collaboratively with realtors. And the builders can come or not come, and they can do any of those things or none of those things. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to educate the builders on the opportunities that they're missing if they are looking at those traditional relationships with real estate agents. Yeah, they're missing tons of opportunity to really differentiate themselves. With a lot of times, realtors are doing between 25 and 60% of the business, right? A lot of the builders who do spec primarily, like inventory homes primarily, they're missing an opportunity to differentiate themselves and really provide a next level customer experience. Because when you focus on the things that unite builders and realtors, it's the client experience, right? So there's so much opportunity there. So I'm going to be offering that masterclass. And then I've got another masterclass planned for realtors that did not come on the bus and maybe want some of the insights that we learned. And then they can come catch the next one.
Cool. Yeah, and it's funny. I'm just sitting here thinking that probably the number one thing they need to do is to find a new home salesperson that they can build a relationship with. Because yes, I know when they hand them over, sometimes that's an awkward thing for them to do, right? So that's very cool. Yeah, it's always been an interesting dynamic between the two. I find depending on the builder, there are several that we won't deal with at all, only because they don't play well with others. But majority, that 5% of what we see in home building, there's a 5% group there that does not want to share paperwork, does not want to do things like that, right, with us, with mortgage brokers. So it's always interesting to see how that works out. I know just working with obviously in this show home for almost a decade, it would always be, well, this guy bought a house from you. Yeah, okay. Did you register him? That's got to be the priority is to bring your client with you, introduce them, do the registration, right? And kind of start that ball rolling that way for sure. So cool. Yeah. So you found a niche that has always been there, just nobody's done anything with it.
So I like I said, was it accidental or was I supposed to find it? But yes, I kind of stumbled upon this niche, and I'm gonna do some work in it, and which is completely aligned with who I am. I'm all about collaborative relationships and working together and winning together. And before I left my employer, we had designed a really cool realtor program, and it really rewarded realtors and supported their value proposition. A lot of times builders will be like, let me give you a reward for coming and give you a bonus. And we were like, no, we're not giving you a bonus to transact with us. But when you bring your clients, they will be treated as VIPs and they will get something special that's not even in our price book. You can't even buy it, right? And it was really cool to support their value proposition and watch them bring their clients in the show homes where they're like, no, like you're not going to get that. You're going to get something completely different because I've got status here. So having them be able to share that with their clients and support their value proposition. Now that was a really clever and a clever way to really support them to come back and transact with you by making sure that they felt supported and that the clients ultimately were the winning combination, right? So
yeah, that's good. Yeah, and that should be the key point, I guess, for all of it, right? Is that in the end, the client is the one that is going to have the most benefit from it, for sure. Excellent. Well, I'm going to let you go, and thank you for your time. I know you have obviously have a lot on the go. If you have more information on when you're doing those next training sessions with that, let me know. We have a very good connection with Remax River City, John Carter. John Carter is actually married to Cheryl Wilkes, who is she's my top agent and has worked for me for 15 years. So we know the Carters quite well. And we were out for dinner with them just a couple of weeks ago to celebrate their 15th anniversary with us. So, yeah.
Oh, that is amazing. You know, what's funny is I had a couple mortgage brokers message me and be like, can we come on the tour? And I was like, no, I can't see why not. Like, what would be wrong with mortgage brokers making connections with new home builders and understanding that process more? I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, come on. And really hanging out with 50 realtors, like, that can't be bad for your business.
Yeah, no, never bad for a new person's business, for sure. Right?
So I'll definitely would let you know, maybe you want to send a couple of your mortgage brokers to just like...
I know a couple that would probably jump all over that. So we actually have the draw programs with ATB and Service. We were part of the pilot program with Service when they got them to change their first draw from 4 months to 6 months at least, and did some other things with them on that as well. So, cool. Yeah, that would be great. Just let me know and we'll fire some not totally new maybe, but that mid-range guy that's looking to increase his business or girl. So.
Absolutely. And expanding the circle of influence, right?
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. My pleasure. Yes, I would love to send that over to you. Thank you so much, Len, for all your love and support throughout the years.
No problem. All right. Take care.
Say hi to your lovely wife. She's amazing.
I will. Thanks for listening today. I hope you found the information that we provided to be useful in your mortgage journey. And remember, you can always find our associates at www.brokersforlife.ca/associates. Have a great day.